Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, man, he knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you wanna know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thursday.
Fins Up Friday to all the Miami Dolphin fans finding this video this morning. It's another Fins-tastic Friday as the Dolphins get ready to take on the Baltimore Ravens up in Baltimore. It's not going to be an easy game, but we are ready. I think our Miami Dolphins will come out on top. Give me a thumbs up, fins up if you agree in the like section here. It's perfect. And give me a big, good comment this morning to start the show. And Cleveland Browns last night beat the Jets. So the league week is officially here. We are ready for football as the Dolphins get set to take on the Ravens up in Baltimore. Weather should not be that much of a factor, so that's a good thing. It's going to be cold, but not freezing. Doesn't look like we're going to get freezing rain or snow. So our Dolphins should be rocking and rolling and looking strong, moving ahead into this weekend. To me, the next two games are must wins. I want that definitely at least one of the two, because you definitely want the AFC East at the very least. You want to take that AFC East title because it guarantees one home game at the very least, and that's what you want. Hey, good morning, Lewis Jones. Big fins up to you. I love the confidence that we're going to win this game. Timothy Washington, the one time I pulled for the Jets. Hey, boom. I know that's how it goes when you root for those teams that you don't really like. Thank you, Woodbright. And Bills, yeah, I've seen you in her show a couple times now. You're a cool Bills fan. And yes, you can link those words together at times. So thank you for coming in. I will go check out your channel later and do the same and make sure, and maybe we can talk heading into next week at some point and see what we do. Hopefully. I'm going to see how that goes, though, because I was on a Ravens show last night. So if we lose to the Ravens, I don't know if I want to go on another show of another team or have a guest on another team. That may be the superstitious thing. I was on a Ravens podcast last night, giving my Dolphins some love. Yes, Timothy, that is always rough. But Cleveland, man, Cleveland's for real. That's one team I don't know if anyone wants to face in the playoffs right now, man. Cleveland is rolling. Joe Flacco, they took him off the trash heap, and he's out there winning football games. They have legit defense. That team is going to be a serious contender. They've clinched a playoff spot now. So that's a tough team. Just like the Miami Dolphins, we're a tough team. The Ravens are a tough team. Yes, Red, White, and Bills, your Buffalo Bills are a tough team. Kansas City, even though they've taken some bumps and hits along the way, who knows when they get into the playoffs, they may get back going and hit another gear. Who knows? Never count out any of those teams, man, because you just think one team's down and the next thing you know, they're back there competing for a Super Bowl in Kansas City and stuff. So it's going to be a very tough, competitive AFC. I'm sure the NFC is going to be competitive as well, but I think the AFC is going to be extra tough. Because I think over in the NFC, you can basically boil it down to the 49ers. I mean, they got their butt stomped the other night by the Ravens, who we're playing this week. And then you got the Eagles, Detroit Lions. But I think out of those three teams, one of them will probably be repping in the Super Bowl. Maybe Dallas, if you want to throw them in there, if they get back in gear, playing better. But they're going to have to win on the road now, it looks like, in the playoffs. So who knows? But in the AFC, man, there's so many teams you could legitimately say could be a Super Bowl contender in the AFC. That's a very fine line. That's why every win these next 2 weeks is critical. Winning that AFC East, to me, is the most critical thing for Dolphins. Can't let those Bills sneak up on us. So Win, just win, as the late Al Davis of the Raiders said. Good morning, Dolphin Don, and good morning again, Hooked Up Joe. Thank you for finding me here. Hooked Up Joe and I were both on that Ravens telecast last night that I was talking about, and we gave them our Dolphins winning scores. They were very confident and had both of them had the Ravens beating the Dolphins by double-digit score. So they're very confident up there that they're going to smack Miami down. Joe and I gave our Miami Dolphin victory predictions. So we will see who's right at the end, but they're very confident. One of them had them beating us like 30 something to like 14. He was so confident. The other guy was a little more close. He said like a 10-point, 34 to 24. But the other guys had them stomping us down. So they're flying high. They're coming off that big win. So I understand why they're cocky. They have us at home and they think they're going to stomp us. But I think our Dolphins are going to surprise some people this week. I think it's going to be close, though. I'm not as confident as they are with the big stuff. I did see Hook Up Joe. All right. Thank you, Joe. Let me see. I'll move it closer to me. Is that a little bit better? James, I'm sorry for being late shooting primer on some parts of the project. Hey, you're busy out there, man. Don't worry, guys. Fins up. Let me know if the mic sounds better. I moved it a little closer to me now. So hopefully, I'm just excited. So I move back sometimes and move forward sometimes. Let's see here. What do we have? I'm going to drop a link, guys, here in a minute. Basically, it's open forum Friday. Love for you guys to talk, give your thoughts heading into this critical game this week as we are ready to take on the number one seed right now. They are the number one seed right now. They can lock up the number one seed with a victory over our Miami Dolphins. We can't quite lock up that number one seed this week, but we can lock up the AFC East. So that's a very important thing. One step at a time for us. And then we would need to follow it up with a win against the Bills or the Ravens losing or something like that. But we can all lock up the AFC East. And that's very important in my book. That's the number one goal of the team each season. Mike McDaniel has said it a couple of times during his press conference this year. The first goal, win the AFC East. Then you worry about the seeding. Then you worry about the playoffs when you get there. It's a week-by-week thing. Most important thing is we've already secured a playoff spot. Okay, we're there. We were in the playoffs last year. What did that get us? A one and done. So what do you want? You want a home playoff game. And the way to get that home playoff game is win the East. And I think that's what this team is focused on, winning this division, having at least one game run through Hard Rock Stadium at the very least. And it sets you up nicely moving forward. And if you can get the number one seed, more power to you. That many more games at the Hard Rock instead of having to travel into the cold somewhere, travel into wherever you have to play. Much better. More games in Hard Rock, the better. So Miami, this is your last road game of the regular season. Go seize the day, seize the moment on the road so you ensure you don't have to travel as much during the postseason. Yeah, I know Red Right. I've seen him a couple times, like I said, on the Miss Finn show, and I appreciate him finding me today due to the great Miss Finn. So that is awesome. Bills look like they made their best midseason adjustment, getting rid of. Yeah, I know, and everyone joked like, "Oh yeah, he's the difference." But for whatever reason, they've played well since they got rid of Dorsey, and who knows if it's just coincidence, whatever. But they've been playing better ball since then. Not a very good resume builder for Dorsey when you say, "Well, they released me for no reason," and then your team performs better after you left. But hey. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, Hooked Up Joe. It was fun being on a Raven show. It's the first time I've ever done that, be on a rivals going into the team. I mean, going into the opponents. First time I ever got the invite. So it was cool to have you there with me to help at the to where I wasn't 2 against 1. It was 2 against 2. So it was nice. But they were very confident, but very nice guys over there on their Ravens podcast. Very cordial, very respectful, but very confident that their Ravens are going to beat down on our Dolphins this week. So I will definitely check out his when I get out of here, and we will check that. Actually, I'm going to be dropping a link, like I said, in a minute. Today's going to probably be a short and sweet show. We just talk about what our predictions are. We've hammered last week's game against Dallas throughout this week here on Dolphins Thursday, on Miss Finn's, on in Sports Network, all the sport networks out there that talk about the Miami Dolphins. Really, what else more can we say than other than hearing different people's opinion that are going to be invited here into the show here right now. And it's going to be fun to see. I mean, if Red, Bright, and Bills, if you want to come in and give us your perspective on what you think as an outsider looking at the Ravens and the Dolphins. So thank you, Hooked Up Joe, for telling me. Okay. I know. I just said, and I'm in a different because I'm normally invade my son that's away at college's room. That's why you see the Dolphin stuff normally behind me there because I set his room up like my little studio. But it's the holiday, so he's home from college. So I'm just in the dining room. Actually, my setup is on the dining room table. So there's a little more echo. It's a bigger room, no pretty background, only my ugly mug to look at. But end of the day, all you guys want to hear about is Miami Dolphins football. Guys, I've dropped the link for any of you guys want to join. To me, the matchup, this is two good teams. They got top offenses, top defenses, depending what sites you look at. Bottom line is that they're both in the top 10, 5-ish of defense and offense in both categories. They both have solid kickers. This game is going to come down to the wire. I think we match up well, decent against them. Yes, they can bully a little bit, is what they're known to do, but I think we can bully them a little bit too, because I know they've had some issues at their tackle positions, according to their host last night. So they're a little concerned with that, but they know exactly who was out. So it's not like Dolphin fans have to tell them. They knew Jalen Phillips is out. They knew Connor Williams is out. They knew Waddle is going to be, not playing. And they said, we don't want any envy upon anyone, but they seemed happy that Waddle probably won't go. But you know what? There's no excuses, man. Our Dolphins have to just stand up, win this game. Man, it's going to be tough. They're going into the beehive up there, guys. It's going to be tough. I still think our Dolphins somehow, some way, finds a way to win. I'm thinking like 24-21. Joe is a little more confident. Last night, he was similar to me. This morning, Joe, you were a little more confident. So what changed overnight since you last talked that you actually have the Dolphins winning by more now, Joe?
I watched the condensed replay of the Cowboys. I'm sorry, of the Ravens 49ers game this morning, and we're gonna run on. We're gonna. Our offense is definitely moving the ball on them. I mean, they were getting the ball moved on them. They were just getting combination of good defensive plays. When they go in to block it up, they knock the ball up in the air, and I guess they play volleyball on the weekends because they were doing a lot of that. But I don't think they're going to play volleyball with us. I think we're not going to get 5 turnovers. It was 5 turnovers in a 2-point game. I mean, a 2-score game. So that makes me think that, and I don't think they're really going to get all that much on our defense. I don't think they're going to score 30 points on us. I think they're going to get 20 something on us. It didn't
Right.
change, after seeing what I saw there. I think we're going to get to the quarterback.
Well, I was just watching that game live, Joe, and it did concern me a little bit. But I know it's all about matchups. You can't really go from one week to the next in the NFL. It's just things changes so quickly. But I mean, they did put a beat down, so I think that's what got me a little bit concerned. I was actually expecting the 49ers to win that game actually handedly. And then when the Ravens went in there one-handedly, it got me a little like, ooh, this Ravens team might be a lot tougher than I was anticipating. because they looked really good in my book. I haven't watched it again in a condensed version or anything like that. But just the eyeball touch watching live, I'm like, man, I know they forced the turnover, so you can say Purdy just screwed it up, but or whatever. But I was actually a little more nervous after watching that game. But I just watched the live. I haven't watched it or followed up or anything since then.
Yeah, it was a rewatch on that, just condensed to kind of really look at it and
Yeah.
see what the key points were.
Hey guys, Jocks, Bethune, welcome to the show. If you can hit those thumbs up, it will help big time. Now we got another Bills fan joining us here, not like Red Right and Bills, but hey, so we got a couple Bills fans in here today. Contain Lamar, yes, that is definitely going to be the tough part. They tried to. The host last night, Joe, was telling us, "Oh, he doesn't run that much." But then when you look at the stats, I'm like, I don't know. How does a guy have over 700 yards rushing if he doesn't run that much? I know they say it's not his intent, but the man still almost has 800 yards or whatever it is rushing. So he obviously runs the ball a lot, and you got to contain him. I agree on your take there, Scotty. So I was kind of surprised last night that they were saying that,
Yeah,
it's not
I
really
think
about
they were talking more along the design run play, like
right.
Josh Allen's running less because they're not giving him design run plays all the time because he runs enough, just trying to be Superman to make it
Right.
happen. Same then, so that's what they were talking about is, he says, "Oh my God, I'm getting attacked," and he runs for 25 yards. You know what I mean? Because he's a running back with that can throw the ball. It's just different with him. So it is true. The way we've contained other quarterbacks does not necessarily
Oh yeah,
translate.
to him. Well,
But
that definitely doesn't relate because he is a whole different animal, man. That man he is a beast with the ball in his hands, running as it can attest to. Last year, he had his longest career run at the time, at least. I don't know if he surpassed it, but he had that long run against us for a touchdown. So he's definitely no joke. He is scary back there because you think you have him contained, and the next thing you know, he's running 18 yards down the field for a first down. It's tough, Joe. But I'm happy that you're a little more confident after watching the game. So I admit I'm nervous. It's tough. I do think we're going to come out on top though somehow, some way. I do believe the Dolphins because we're good too. That's the thing though. Just because I say the Ravens are good doesn't mean I don't think the Dolphins are good. So it's two good teams going at it, and I just think we may have the matchup on this one, like you tend to think. Joe, are you there?
yep, I
Okay.
am. So
Yeah. No, yeah, that's it. I was going to say, I think you're spot on. I think we match up. Okay. I think we can be able to run it against them. Hopefully, Mozart's good to go. He should be. Hopefully, A. Chan, him and Wilson. We haven't really seen much of Chris Brooks, but I do think we need to keep it honest on the offense, pound the football, keep balance. Even if you don't get a lot of yards per play necessarily, kind of have that Jets mentality you did against them a couple weeks ago. We kept on running it, even though the results weren't always necessary there, because that's going to free up other aspects of the game. Be able to have you hit a big play down the field at some point, like we did against the Jets. Of course, that was to Waddle. We may not have Waddle in this one, it looks like, but Tyreek hopefully is good to go. And I know he's a little banged up. They pointed out last night, but I think he'd be ready. I still think he can have a big game for us against them. I think he matches up well against their secondary.
And I don't think their running game's gonna. I think they don't have much of a running game really outside of Lamar. I mean, like the guy was saying. I mean, I guess they do. They're number one running, but I mean, if you add Lamar of 700 yards to anybody's running game, they're going to push them over the top because it's pretty close when you look at that stuff. I just don't see their
Yeah,
regular running game running on us that much.
yeah, I know.
If we can
No, I know.
contain
Yeah, I
Lamar,
don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're going to
uh,
pound the rock like you said. Just run, 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 and pound the football and wear us down like they think they're going to do. Because that's what their reasoning for that. The Dolphins were going to. They just think they're going to pound us, get us tired, and beat us handily. That's what they're. I just don't see that. I don't see that coming. I'm with you, Joe. I don't see them dominating us because they think the Dolphins can be bullied, is what they said, and they think they're going to bully us. But I don't see them bullying us. I see us as a tougher team than people think. We're tough along the defensive line, And I think we're fine. So I don't know why they tend to think we're going to get bullied and beaten down. And that's why they both have us losing by double-digit points. Let's see. I'm not worried about actual yards. To me, it's about attempts and focus during certain times of game. Yes. Would you agree with that, Joe? Just keep on running. I mean, if sometimes the results aren't necessarily there.
Yes. And I assume Scotty's at this point talking about our own actual rushing
Right.
yards. I don't care
Right. Yeah.
about how
Ours.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way it's been in some games. We look at, I mean, we're like when we stayed running it and ran 3 times in a row and knocked it in, with Mostert. That game just wasn't that big of a running game yard wise, but it was attempt wise.
Yep. No, I know. And that's why that was perfect, man. It was a perfect. That's why I say they just got to keep on doing that. And it worked well against the Jets. I agree with Scotty. I don't know why people think we're a finesse team. We're tough up front. I mean, the salt and pepper team up front, they're tough up the middle. We're good against the run. We got linebackers that are playing well. So I don't get where the whole finesse thing. And I think the Dolphins hear that narrative too when they have that chip on their shoulder, which I actually like. Hey, Abba, and Dolphin John, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great because we're in first place in the AFC East. Anyway, I want to say something really kind to the Buffalo fans here. It's always friends over fandom. And I just had a big salute to you, Michael K. And also to the Buffalo Bills, because the reason we are tough is because of the Buffalo Bills. And I think in large part, and that's why I'm not afraid of these Baltimore Ravens coming in here all banged up on defense and a ticked off Vic Fangio at them. Hey, things could get ugly. Just saying.
Yeah. Hey, no, I hope you guys are right. I admit second most lineup and leading rush game, least amount of blitzing and first in sacks. Yes. So, well, I think we're number 2 in sacks. They pointed out last night that the Ravens have a couple more sacks than us, and I looked it up, but it's very close. If we get more sacks this week, we'll be right back in the lead in the top. But yeah, we are getting great pressure on the quarterback without blitzing a lot. So that is fun to see. And like you say, Don, yes, I think we did build up to be a tougher team because the way we said, okay, how can we match up better against Buffalo? And we've built our team a little bit tougher in the trenches for sure. And I like it, man. I mean, I like our style of football. I think people say finesse because they know we got speed on offense and that we focus on speed on offense. So people want to just throw that finesse label at us. But I really don't think we're a finesse team. I
They
think we're
see the
like
wide open plays where our guys just running out there and catching it and running in and dodging people and hardly getting hit. And they're like, well, he didn't even get hit. That's not really football. They were calling it basketball on grass because we're not even getting hit. You know what I
right.
mean? But that's
Yeah.
baloney. We're out there blocking our asses off is the reason we're not getting hit. You know what I mean? We're a physical team. You don't just run around the team in a football game. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
think you can just run around. I mean, if we're actually able to just run around in a football game like that, I mean, we are badass as hell if we're not even getting hit in a football game.
No,
It's
no,
just
you're
it's
right.
just a bunch of
Preach.
cloning.
Yeah,
Preach,
no,
Joe.
I love it when Joe gets on a roll, and that's
Yeah.
perfect. And it's just, I think that's the reason our toughness is the reason they say we're finesse because we make things look easier at sometimes against the lesser opponents. Granted, against the tougher opponents, that's why they're tougher opponents. It's not always going to look that easy, but we still pound it out when we need to. We got EM coming into the room, guys. Hey, EM.
Hey, what's good, everybody?
What's up, EM?
It's up to you.
So, what's your take on this week's game, EM?
I'm excited for this week's game. I mean, I think we are a much tougher team than people are making it out to be, and we're gonna go, physical for physical with the Ravens, and I think we could win this game. It's going to be a tough game, though. The Ravens, I think, are right now the best team in the NFL, but I don't think we're far off because everyone is saying the Ravens are far and ahead of anyone, but I think we're right there with them. I think we can compete with them and beat them.
Yeah, but
Yep.
everybody's prisoners of the moment too because they beat the 49ers. Well, maybe the 49ers just had a bad game. Brock Purdy throwing 4 picks and they only lost by what? I mean, it's if you really put things in perspective, I don't know. Just saying.
I
Doesn't
do
that
think
But
happen?
it
we're
was a bit.
definitely prisoners of the moment. The whole NFL this whole year, and in the MVP race has been just
It
think over
is.
the last like 5 weeks. It was Jalen Hurts MVP to lose. Then it was Dak Prescott's MVP to lose. Then it was Brock Purdy. Now it's Lamar Jack. So even in the MVP, let alone what team's the best. It's like week to week they change who's the best. And I mean, it's just it's hard to know until the last whistle sounds in the season. You're not going to know who the best team is just because this is how competitive the NFL is each and every week. And we do definitely live in a moment. You're like, oh my God, I can't, because, when the when the 49ers smashed the Eagles in Philadelphia, 49ers are the best team by far in football. They've established it. They're the greatest team since sliced bread. They're going to mold through everyone. The Super Bowl runs through Santa Clara, California. Then lo and behold, now they went and got smashed by the Ravens. And then people thought, oh, the Cowboys, they smashed the Eagles. Maybe they're the team. And then they've lost 2 games in a row against the Bills and the Dolphins. And now people are calling them frauds. So really, until the end of the year, you don't know. You just don't know. And that's what's great about sports. It's not like a script, we all tease sometimes. We think it's scripted, but it's not scripted. And if it is, then I'm definitely think we got the worst writers in NFL history writing the same narratives of the same good teams like the Patriots winning way too many years. So that's definitely not scripted. Dolphins just have to go out, create their own script, and change their narrative. And that starts this week, guys.
And not to discredit the Ravens or what they did, but I did think that Kyle Shanahan had a very poor game plan, you know, and obviously it didn't work out for them. So as long as Mike McDaniel comes in here with a great game plan to not stop, but limit Lamar Jackson and get some points on enough points on the board, we can win it.
No, yeah, no, this will be the tough game because, like Scotty said, whether the Ravens are the best team or not, they are playing the best right now. But that changes from week to week. So, and
Especially as people put it all out there in a game, you know what I mean? Like the Bills put it all out there against us,
Yeah.
and then they were just dead for like 2 games. And this one,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the Ravens were like putting it all out there against the 49ers, and going on a short week, they might be a little bit beat up coming into this game too. Combination of flying high and beat up.
Yep. No, I mean, we're if you're going to get them, I guess this is a good time to get them because they're coming off a Monday night game, so their week's a little different because it's always changes things up. Teams are used to a routine. They had to go out all the way on the West Coast, fly back after a Monday night victory, where it was a physical game that they won. So, we got them as best as we can get them. I mean, this is a tough game. Let's face it. We all circled this game in the very beginning of the season, knowing Baltimore was going to be a tough get at the end of the season. The sandwich between all the home games that we had, because we had 3 home games, Baltimore, then another home game, and we knew this Baltimore game was going to be a bruiser. It's always tough up there. I mean, when Baltimore's not one of the better teams, just a tough place to play. We got over that last year. We went up there, had the miraculous comeback in the fourth quarter with Tua and Hill just going off like a video game at the end there. And, so at least we got that burden off their back so the players know that they can go into that stadium and they should have the confidence that they can win. And that's the most important thing. So it's going to be interesting, man, because the Ravens think they can beat us. We think we're going to beat them. So it's going to be fun, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Any one of you guys can chime in.
I like what Scotty just said. This is the game of the year, and now my guess the next week's going to become the game of the year.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is how we want it to end, right? I mean, we don't want to go up against cupcakes and back our way into the playoffs. We want to go in strong, beating people. And what a great way to go.
Mike McDaniel said it his best. You don't get into the NFL saying, I want to be average. He said it himself. You want to play against the best because you're not going to be the best unless you beat the best. So I like it. I think they're focused. And if we lose, it's because they were the better team, not because we weren't ready. That's just a simple fact, because this team's going to be ready. I can tell. I feel like they're going to be ready. It's going to be a close game, like I say. I'm feeling very close game, like all you guys seem to think. This game could go either way, but our Dolphins just have to find a way to get it done. And I just love how Mike McDaniel, more or less what you said, Dolphin. You want to play the best at this time of year. It gets you ready.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's excited about it. He talked about it multiple times, said that, this is exactly what you want, is to be going against the best you can go against right as you're going into the playoffs.
Yep. Nope. That's it, because it gives you where you know where you stand, because we already locked in the playoff spot. So if we should happen to lose now, we know what, okay, we got to fix this and we got to fix this moving forward. And if you win, you just establish yourself as that team.
Yep.
So that's what you want. But definitely we got to win one of the next two. I want to win both of them, like Scotty says. Because if we win this week, then we're all going to be pumping up next week's game. As we've already have the division title wrapped up, though, but it would still be because then it's for the number 1 seed, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, we need the number 1 seed because we're so close to only being 2 games away from the Super Bowl." If you get that number 1 seed, and then it has to run through Hard Rock Stadium, that'd be the ultimate. But I want to. Mike McDaniel has said it numerous times this year, that the goal, almost every team across the NFL, their goal is always to win the division. That's their first goal, because it helps get to the ultimate goal of winning the Super Bowl. We're so close to winning this division, that I say somehow, some way, they got to close out this AFC East title.
Yeah, they definitely got to close it out, especially against two really good teams. Buffalo's inconsistent. I don't think them beating New England is a guarantee either. But yeah, win the division, and then after that, play who you play, set the matchups, and it's win or go home. So I'm excited, and I'm really excited this season because we got a healthy Tua all year, and we got Tua finally playing in a playoff game. So I'm pumped up.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, man. Just keep this man healthy over the next couple of weeks. He will finally get that playoff monkey off his back. Better or for worse, he's going to get that experience. He's going to get the taste of playoff football, and I'm looking forward to it. You're right, Scotty. That's why I said you can't. That's why I don't put much weight into the preseason schedule look aheads. They're fun. We all do it. We all look for schedule release day. But at the end of the day, it's almost a pointless endeavor, because things change. Teams that were great last year turn around and not be so great this year. Teams that weren't that great last year improve a lot and become very good, solid football teams. You just don't know from year to year. It's fun. I do it. We all do it. We all look at that schedule and pick games that we think are wins and losses. But at the end of the day, before the season begins, it's pointless, because you don't know who's going to get hurt during the season. You don't know who's just going to have off seasons. And yes, at the beginning of the year, everyone's saying the Dolphins had one of the toughest schedules. Now, and supposedly they have the weakest of all the playoff teams. But it's just, that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah,
Case
we
in
were talking
point, I
about
thought
it.
the Jets were going to be awesome. Go ahead. Sorry, hooked up.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, guys. You're right, Dolph. That's a perfect run right there. We thought it was going to be a 3-team race between the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins. The Jets lost Aaron Rodgers within the first 5 plays of the game, and their season basically spun out of control. So it's just you just never know, man. And the Bills lost some games that they normally don't lose. They lost to the Broncos and some other games that they lost that you couldn't believe they lost to. So it just shows you just don't know from week to week what you're going to get.
I didn't believe in the Jets at all. I didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to get hurt so early, but I did expect him to take a lot of hits and get banged up, miss a few games here, miss a few games there, because I did not trust that Jets O-line. And yeah, I was right in that. The Jets O-line is not good at all.
Yeah, no, Aaron Rodgers was going to get beat up behind that line at some point. It just happened sooner than later that the Achilles pop, and not even that much due to the hit or anything, kind of like Jalen Phillips. And it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I think he got hit on every single pass he dropped back on in those first few plays.
He also did hold on the ball too long, and that is what he does at times. But yeah, I mean, he was going to get hit regardless, because if your best offensive lineman is a 50-year-old Dwayne Brown, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm thinking the Jets will go out and try to improve that offensive line, having them come back so they could be tougher next year. But for this year, we don't got to worry. All we got to worry about the next 2 weeks. And both of the, I mean, you couldn't really have because the Bills are playing good football. Yes, they barely beat the Chargers a couple weeks, but they won. That's all that matters. And then, so they're playing well. We're playing well. It's going to be fun, but I would love to have the division wrapped up before we have to face Buffalo and have it all on the line for Buffalo because I don't see New England. I know some people think New England, but it's in Buffalo. New England's already beaten them once this year. It's not a given. Could it happen? Yes, but I wouldn't count on New England beating Buffalo for a second time. New England does have a sneaky good defense, though, so maybe they can limit Buffalo down a little bit. But I think it's just the Dolphins take care of their own business. This is what you need, man. This is the reason you won all these games all year. So you have control of your own destiny, guys. And Miami is in control of their own destinies all the way up to the number 1 seed. They're in control of their own destiny. They got to at least get that division.
And if we beat the Ravens, I expect us to rest, most of our starters. Because like you said, McDaniel, his goal, win the division, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah.
If there's no shot at top seed, if there's a shot at top seed, we're playing.
We got to play
all out. There's also a chance that the Bills could have 6th seed and not be able to change 6th seed no matter what happens in our game. There's that scenario, and in that scenario, the Bills would have to rest going into the playoffs. But I'm not worried about the Bills. I am seriously, absolutely not at all worried about the Bills. The Bills go from, when they could have beat the Eagles and then they lost by one play, they were just screaming bloody murder that they were the worst team in the world. I mean, they imploded after that game. Then the next game they built back up, and then they built all back up. Then this last game, I mean, if they wouldn't have made the one play and actually there was one play away from them losing that game, and then it would have been worse than it was after the Eagles game. It would have been a complete implosion.
No, I don't. Hey, if Tony hadn't just lined up off sides, if Tony hadn't lined up off sides in that Bills Chiefs game, we're probably talking about a different story. So, man, Tony, and I was rooting for Kansas City. Sorry, Buffalo fans, Michael K. and Red, White, and Bills. I was rooting. I know some Dolphin fans were rooting for Kansas City because of the number 1 seed and all that. I was doing Mike McDaniel mode. Let's secure the division before you start worrying about seeding. So I wanted Buffalo to lose that game. If Tony doesn't line up off sides, it's probably a whole different story. And he lined up off sides. Mahomes acted like a baby for whatever reason. It's just if the guy lines up off sides, he lines off sides. And he did. So that's on them. But that's football. But man, if Kansas City would have won that game, we're already division champs. Or if we hadn't lost to the Titans, we're division champ. But we can't focus on what happened. It's already gone. We can't get into the DeLorean and change those results. So all Miami can do the next 2 weeks, go out and control their own destiny against 2 very good football teams. So that's what.
Yeah, at home. We're not the Bills. I'm not worried about the Bills at home at all. If we were going to the Bills and playing them in the snow while they were hot, it'd be a different thing. But as a super casual, I'm not a casual fan, Mike. I'm a super casual fan, right? And as a super casual fan, we're going to kick the Bills' ass when they come here on week 18, no matter what happens. We can play Mike White, and we're going to kick their ass.
Here. Right? I love that, Joe.
Especially without an improved defense. I mean, this defense can really stifle the Bills' offense. I'm confident.
Exactly. A good defense, and also I think the Ravens' defense is a lot more banged up than people realize. They're down some key players on defense.
I heard Kyle Hamilton might not play, and he's a key piece in what they like to do. So
Hamilton,
we won't have Waddle, and they won't have Hamilton. So
Yeah, and Stevens is banged up too. Did not practice. Things are. I don't know. If they don't have those guys and we have our full offense, that puts a lot of pressure on Lamar. Just saying.
Let's see. Question on the panel. With all respect, knowing Allen's track record versus mine, why is it so hard to think they can win? Oh,
because we won at home last year.
Yeah, there's a path for them to win, but there's also a path for us to win. So I think you should realize it's not going to be an easy game like it was where you guys beat us handily up there. Give you kudos for that. But it's a different Miami team. We got Ramsey back. Our defense is playing better under Fangio now that they've got used to the system. So if you think you're just going to come down here and want buzz, then you may have to also ask yourself that question. I think it could be very close game division wise, but I still like the Dolphins' chances.
And I do go on to Tommy's, Bill's Mafia and talk to them, but I always do it in a super respectful way. And I don't say I'm going to go in there and tell them we're going to kick their ass or any of that stuff. I go in and I talk to them about their team. And, if they really lost, I'll go in and listen and say, hey, man, whatever. And then, I don't sit there and taunt them over it.
Well, that's cool.
I think it's cool to go into other teams. And
I've never done it until I was invited on the Ravens show last night. I never go into another team's thing.
It was because they're on the AFC roundtable. So then I follow them, so the guys that do the AFC roundtable, they're very generally this roundtable I'm talking about with these people are real cool. So, with Tommy and Curtis from Ace.
Curtis. Yeah, he's a good cat. He's a good guy.
Yeah. No, we all of us, no matter what team we root for, all we can do is exactly that. We have no control over personnel matters. No, Mike McDaniel's not calling me before every play and saying, Rob, what do you think we should run on this play? So unfortunately, all we can do is sit down, and it's no different than watching a movie. The only difference is no leaks of the ending come out. So that any game, any week can change. All we can do as fans. That's why I'm not a big trash talker when we win. And I don't listen to trash talk when we lose, because I'm not the one out there kicking the ball. I'm not the one out there throwing the ball, making tackles, calling plays. All I'm doing is rooting for my team. And I love it. I celebrate my wins, but I don't go to another team and trash them for losing. I'd be on here singing my Miami Dolphins song if we win. And that's what I do. I celebrate our wins, but I don't go trash someone else, because it's not like I'm out there, like I said, throwing the football and making those decisions or making a critical block. I'm just here watching and enjoying. And it's, I do it for the entertainment. So that's how I look at it, guys. I enjoy our wins more than make fun of other teams' losses.
Yeah, and certainly don't like it when another team gets injured. I'm never relishing in like, oh, somebody got hurt. That's great. I'm so happy Aaron Rodgers went out. That was pissing me off, actually, just to see their own field take out a guy trying to do it, even though I don't even like him. It's just it sucks that early in the season. I mean, come on.
I felt for the fan base there, Joe. Yeah, that sucks. We've had it too, though. We've been there.
Yeah, and that's why you kind of feel, you don't want them coming in jabbing at us. If freaking Tua went down there, if they were in here like, taunting us over that, I would just be so pissed off.
I think
most lose some respect there.
Right. I think do it. I think 99% of fans don't celebrate injuries. There were some Bills Mafia for whatever reason, not red, white, and blue or Michael K. and to that point, but there were some that loved tweeting out Tua's injury when he got concussed, and there was a couple of Bill fans that do it on Twitter for whatever reason. But I don't think that's like I said, that's very much the minority. I don't even think hopefully, Red, White, and Bills and Michael K don't like that crap either when they see people making fun of Tua getting a concussion and whatever. Because to me, I would never, if Josh Allen or whoever would get hurt on Buffalo, I'm not going to celebrate that, because like Mike McDaniel says, you want to face the best, because that's the only way you're going to be. You don't want to hear like, oh, you beat us because you didn't have Josh Allen or something. We didn't have Josh. I want to face their best every single time. That's the only way to. Am I going to unfortunately, if someone gets hurt and he can't play and the Dolphins win, and am I going to be upset like, oh man, I don't really think I should celebrate because they don't have. No, I'm still going to celebrate that we won the game.
Yeah, because everybody has them out.
Players hurt.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. So.
I came in here praising all the Bills fans. Hey, you guys, salute to you Dolphins fans.
Especially that's it. Hey, of course, we know that.
Yeah, and hooked up Joe. I see him everywhere too. So hey, salute.
It's nice to have a set of fans that are that you can see in multiple communities and talk to, and like Scotty's always here. In fact, if Scotty's here, I don't even have to type anything because Scotty says everything I'm thinking. So
Hey,
great.
yeah, Scotty, Adam, Red, White, and Blues. Even you, Michael K. Don't. I know you don't. He never says he wants to. Oh man, and let's see who else is in here. Scotty, I already said hooked up with Joe. I'm going over all you guys, man. I don't want to leave any of you guys out. Dolphin John, I just saw you in here again. Timothy Washington, if you're still in here, big fins up. Mr. Bethune, big fins up and new attitude there. I think I got everyone. All you guys coming in here today, make it fun, easy to make this show go on. Today's whole purpose was to open up this forum on Open Forum Friday and see what your guys' takes on this week's game. So I think we all feeling the Miami Dolphins can win, but we all know it's going to be very tough and probably come down to the final minutes of the final quarter. Is that how we're basically feeling, guys?
Nope, I'm still going to go for a blowout.
Wow, you're a really confident Dolphin, Don.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
if
it,
you
but that's
consider
a
'em.
little overconfident. Hey, that's good, man.
Okay, not a blowout. Okay, we're going to win like 33-24. I
Hey,
see
I would
Sanders
take that,
hitting.
man. If our offense rolls that high, then I would feel confident because
Yeah.
that's where I'm a little bit worried about our offense without Waddle, without some of the offensive linemen. With we will see because Chan hasn't seemed to be as quick burst since he's come back from the injury. I know Joe last night you predicted you think Chan's going to pop back and have a big performance. So I hope you're right because we need that speed, especially if Waddle's out. Got to find a way to work Chan into the game plan. I mean, if you blink him out a couple times, somehow, some way, use that speed to our advantage, Joe.
I think Achan's going to catch some catches too. He was wide open on one when he threw it over to Hill. He was wide open on the other side too. I think if you give Achan a catch in space and he's doing his thing, jeez,
It's over. Yeah.
Yep, Lance McDonald. Hey, all. Thank you, Lance. That's the first time I've seen your name in here. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you see today. And if you really earn it by the end of the show, you can even tackle the subscribe button. It helps. It's free. And it helps us get found. So big fins up to you, Lance. I know, Scotty, cortisone shots for everyone. I think some of them may be getting some, but I don't think Waddle, from all accounts. Mike McDaniel had kind of left it on the table Wednesday, giving me a little hope, saying, oh, he wouldn't rule him out. But then later that same day or the next day, Adam Schefter's tweeting out that word is that Waddle's not going to be a go. So we will see on that front. That's a big loss. It's just it's almost not a game he doesn't go by that he doesn't get some kind of banged up and have to go out of the game, but he's always back. He's a tough guy, man. He's just, yes, he gets hurt, but he plays through so much stuff, man, because it's not a game that goes by. It doesn't seem like he's down on the field for a minute. That you have to worry about him being out of the game, and then he comes back miraculously. So I'm hoping that even if he hasn't missed this week, hopefully he's back by the Bills game, guys, because we definitely need Waddle moving into the playoffs.
Well, it could be a game of unsung heroes too. I mean, look at Jeff Wilson's impact. He's a tough runner. Also, Chase Claypool. Hopefully, we get Chosen back. Things could, I think some unsung players could probably shine in this one.
Yeah,
it may have to be that type of game,
Yeah.
because Hill's not 100%. I
No.
mean, Hill at 80%, still 110%, but still,
He's great. Yeah.
I talked to you on Stephen D or Miss. Oh, all right, Lance McDonald. Cool.
Braxton Berrios. That's another guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah, no problem. No, yeah, there's other guys that they definitely need to step up when these guys are out. He just said, you guys are all thinking on the same line today. Burrow's going to have a big game. Yep, Waddle has been playing injured since preseason this year, unfortunately, and he still put up 1,000-yard season. So it's amazing that he's out there. We're hearing anything on Hunt or AJ. Hunt was getting closer, but I still don't think he should go this week. Newfoundland. McDaniel said he's closer to day to day than week to week, but he's still week to week. But it's getting closer because he's been saying week to week to week. But he says he's almost at the point where he can say day to day. So we're going to see on the Hunt front. AJ wants to play. He says it's tricky, but he's going to try to get out there. So, I mean, that is tough, man. But our offensive line, unfortunately, has been devastated with injuries. We, outside of the Jets, we've had more offensive line lineups than any other team in the NFL. So it's hard to get that consistency. But with all that said, they've gone out there and they've played well overall. Granted, Tua, when he drops back to pass, gets rid of the ball really quickly, so that helps sack totals go down. But they've also opened up a good amount of running. I mean, they're up there in the top rushing teams. They're not number one anymore, but they're up there in the top 6 or whatever they are. It's been a while since I looked at those numbers, but they're up there rushing the football well.
I think
Yeah.
Scotty's asking about how many wide receivers too with 1,000 yards. I think we're the only team in the NFL that has 3 1,000-yard non-quarterbacks.
Yep. No, I know we got a running back with. So, it's been fun, man. It's a good, hey, good morning, Frederick Dunlop. Thank you for coming in. I'm going to say anyways, a Warrior just for shooting up against Dallas still sticking with me. That sounded really bad. Hopefully, I'm just reading into it. So, yeah, I know that. We're going to add Fred right here at the end. Hey, Fred, big fins up to you. How are you today?
Good morning, Steve, man. Fins up to you guys also, man.
Fins up.
Ends up.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Steve. I mean, I'm just coming to the show. Maybe you guys talked about this already. I don't know, but I'd like to know, man, where are you at with injured players that want to play? Meaning, like Waddle. I mean, where are you at? We're leaving the decision up to the player if he wants to play or not.
Well, that's always tough. I think the trainers are the one that ultimately signs off. If the trainers say, hey, he can go, or they leave it up to the player. Because most of the time the players are going to say they want to play. So I'm with you. That's a hard decision, Mr. Dunlap. But if you think it's a detriment to the team long-term by playing him and risk further injury, then, of course, you're not going to want to do it. So that's my long-winded answer. It's really hard to know. But I say leave it up to the trainers, the doctors. They're the ones that have to make that. Because if you leave it up to the player, they're almost always going to say they want to play, And once in a while, they would say they don't want to hurt the team, and they will take themselves out like Tyreek Hill did going into the Jets game. He just didn't think he was ready. So supposedly he made the decision not to play.
Yeah.
But almost all the other times, man, they always want to play. So I think
even in that one case that you're talking about, even in the one case you're talking about with Hill, where he was saying he made his own decision, if you go back and look at the press conference, he actually said, if the trainers agree. It was all in a quick sentence, but his whole sentiment there was, if he says he's ready to go and the trainers agree, then he's going to go. And that's kind of the way he put it out there. So he's not just, all right, Tyreek, if you think your ankle's good. I mean, if they're doing tests and they say it's not good, he ain't going out. Is it a matter of pain tolerance, or is it a matter of further injury? Obviously,
So what's your take, Mr. Dunlop?
Okay, my take on that, man, is me. I'd leave it up. If I was the coach, I'd leave it up to the player. I mean, considering the importance of the game and where we're at and trying to secure a home field. If the player feels though he can go, then hey, man, depending on what the injury was, hey, I'm going to let him go. Like with Waddle, from what I hear, I'll call it a sprained ankle. And if the guy feels that he can go, he's 80%, but he feels he can make things happen. I'm going to let him go ahead and decide what he wants to do, man.
Yeah.
No, sometimes you have to protect the player from the player too. I mean, hey,
if this was a playoff game, Waddle would try and go, but since we got 2 games till the playoffs, I think they're just going to shut it down for Waddle until the playoffs.
I understand that, protect the player from the player, but like I said, man, it's depending on the injury, man. I mean, the guy knows, Waddle knows, man, he's a wide receiver. He knows how hard he can go, and he may even have to take a play off or two, man. But just because he's on the field, man, still kind of helps us out, man. You still have to respect the guy. and
Oh, yeah.
that's what Waddle That's what Waddle knows. And hey, man, maybe he'll give it a go. Not even being 100%.
Yeah, no, hey, no, you are right. Let's go. Hey, Ricky Palmer, big fins up from the Twitter side over there. So big fins up over there. Thank you for stopping in. No, you make some good points, Frederick. I mean, very, very good points on that. I mean, it's because I just think sometimes if you leave it up to the player, you're going to want to go because Waddle, he's one tough guy, man. He's tough. He's
Yeah,
going to
man.
want to go
Yeah.
if he's.
I mean, you
given
saw
that
his last
option.
game at Alabama. I mean, he was playing out there limping. Like, he's a tough
Yeah.
guy. So,
Yeah.
If you I don't mean to cut you off, but if you ever look at Waddle, man, he's always limping. I think that's maybe his walk. You know what I mean? That's just how he walks or whatever. But it seems like he's always limping, if you ask me, man. If you guys check that out or not.
Oh yeah, he's always seems hurt. That's what I said. But he has been hurt this whole season. Like
No,
he's
even when
got-
he's
Yeah.
not hurt, he walks with a limp. It's like he's
Yeah.
Mr. Cool
Yeah.
and he walks with a limp.
he's,
You know
he's
what I'm
running
saying?
he's running and walking with swag. You know.
That's what the old players used to do back in the day. I'm probably dating myself, but remember Earl Campbell would always walk with that limp, Then he'd go out there and just blast people.
yeah. Hey, it's,
So
you know, yeah.
it's really hard to tell how hurt he is, man, because he walks like that anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're all saying 100% Waddle nationally walked with a limp. Whoever brought up that 100%.
Yeah, man, but that's why I am with it, man. I understand, like, protect the player, man, but this player knows how important it is, man, and wants to help the team, man. I'm going to leave it up to him. I'm going to leave it up to him, man.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to have him in there. I guess we know a little more today. Nick Daniels should have his Friday press conference sometime today, so we will get a little better feel on what it looks like. If they rule him out already, then we will know. Sometimes he would still say it's up in the air. So
Right.
it's going to be very interesting to see when Mr. Barry Jackson is going to be the first one to ask him about every single injury. So
Yeah.
So I always like it. He always calls on Barry first too, because he knows like all the injury questions would be out of the way. So he goes, "All right, Barry, what do you have?" He goes, "Oh, I got a double one for you today." So it's like, I don't know why, but I guess it's just a respect thing. Barry Jackson's probably the oldest of all the guys covering the team. He always asks Barry first, I find. So, and then Omar's more of your, like, he asks specific game plans, and that's why he always looks at Omar like, "You really think I'm going to share like what I want to do?" Omar always says, "Hey, I have to ask." So, because he was the one that started bringing up, "Are you going to cover? Is Ramsey going to cover Lamb all over the field and whatever?" Is how that whole thing started.
Hey, Steve, how soon is it that the team has to let the NFL know, I guess, on if Waddle's is going to go or not? You know what I mean? Do they have to let him know by a certain time if he's going to
like 90 minutes before kickoff? As long as he's on the injured report, which he is. That's why that whole Joe Burrow thing got blown up, because he was never listed on the. He's been listed on the injury report, but I think it's 90 minutes before kickoff is the only thing they have to name their inactives. So you can keep it up all the way until they name their inactives. And sometimes he would just tell it so fans will know and people would know, and they would just say, "Hey, Waddle's out," and the coach would just make his decision. But the rules is 90 minutes before cut time. Yeah, something like that. An hour or 90 minutes, something like that.
I think the Dolphins should use every 90 minutes of that, man.
Doggone right. I'm guessing. Yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly.
The Belichick method.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. I mean, obviously, there's obvious injuries when the player's done for the season or whatever, but on all these questionable ones, yes, I would just make them guess on what we're going to do. But Wazo, I hadn't practiced this week, so that's not a great indication because normally if they don't practice, they don't play, other than like Armstead and stuff like that. He's gone whole weeks without practicing and still goes out and plays. But other than that, most of the time, if you don't practice, you don't play. So we will see, though. Yeah. We will see.
And Mostert's going to play too. It's at DMP, I think, but he's going to play too. Austin Jackson's going to come back. So, yeah, we'll have some guys come back.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that Mostert getting dinged up a little bit, man. Oh man, wow.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad actually when he was limping around there.
I
Yeah,
know
man.
he's
It
avoided
did.
the injury
Wow.
for the most part this year, so it's been. I mean, to me, Moser, man, such a good guy too, man. It's just like
Yeah.
seeing. I mean, of course, I don't know him personally, but what you see of him on Hard Knocks and the video clips, this
Yep.
guy, he's
Yeah.
like a story that you just. I mean, he's like the story that movies are made of. From be cut
Okay.
so many different times and then lead the league, and I mean, break the team's record touchdown story, and then helps kids with giving away gifts. I mean, this guy is just like
Yeah.
really cool guy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's just out there. I mean, he's just the kind of guy you can't not root for. I don't care. He's just one of those guys. He's just like we know how many people would have just given up after being cut as many times as he did. He just never gave up. He kept his dream alive, and here he is now playing at such a high level at over 30 years old. So it's incredible.
Yeah, and McDaniel
Yeah.
even said he respects the Moserts and the Cray Crafts of the world, guys who got cut so many times and then they had that thing in their mind, be like, yeah, I'm never going to be an NFL player, and but they kept working, and they found a job.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss
I'm
Fins,
excited.
big Fins up to you. Everyone in the world already knows who Miss Fins is, but if you don't, check her out. Her channel is awesome. But anyway, yeah, on that point, we're almost here at the wrap up time of the show, guys. So, Mr. Dunlop,
Yeah.
I don't know where you stand. What do you think this week's game? How's it going to unfold against the Ravens up in Baltimore?
Okay, this game right here, man. I think this is our by far our toughest task we've had all season right here, man. And I say just continue to play the way you've been playing, play hard, tighten up the chin strap, and hey, let the chips fall where they may, man. However, the Dolphins going to win the game though.
I love to hear. I love the confidence among the Dolphin fans because it helps because I have a hard time sometimes separating because I know from year to year you have no correlation, much less I mean week to week in the NFL has no correlation. But past memories of Dolphin fans, like I said, years they seep into my brain saying, "Oh, this is going to be the same old Dolphins. They're going to let us down again at the end." I'm trying to separate that and realize, hey, this 2023 team's different. They got a different mindset. They got a whole mindset to win. They're not going to be doubted. So that's why I'm getting that little hope in me that we are going to go up and take care of business over the next 2 weeks.
That's right, Steve.
Yeah,
That's right,
so
Steve.
let's see. Let me hey Ricky Palmer, thank you so much for finding us again. Like I said, over on Twitter. I want to make sure he gets a shout out. We don't get many people chiming in from Twitter, so that's awesome. There's going to be another dog fight. I see a chippy game, a couple personal foul penalties. Oh, Mr. Kristen Wilkins is going to be right up there in the mix of getting into people's faces. I thought he was going to maybe get called against the Cowboys. There was a few times that I know he got called for the BS roughing the quarterback. I know we got one back as a favor, but that was a BS. If anything, Dak Prescott stole that by actually bringing him down on him, not letting him come off of him when he's trying to be open arms like that. So
Yeah, man.
and I'm all about protecting players, believe me, because we pay to see the best players play. But if you're going to call that roughing the quarterback, I mean, where he did everything you're supposed to. He didn't go high, he didn't go low. He put his arms up, and you're going to call him for roughing the quarterback. And the same thing when they hit Tua, that wasn't on Parsons, but I think sometimes they do make up calls. So it happens.
No, Steve. That hit on Tua, that was roughing, bro. That was roughing.
Yeah, that was worse because Tua had already released it, and he did
exactly.
Yeah, but it was hard for Micah to stop because he was going super full speed, and he did hit Tua right after, like it was so sudden, like it was like I don't know what Micah could have done at that point though.
He did
No.
Yeah.
No. He could have. He could have let up, man. He knew the ball was going. After the ball was going, he raised the forearm and kept right on through with it, bro. He could have eased up. He could have.
Yeah, I know. He cried about that too. He was crying. That's why all the Cowboy fans started listening to him, thinking, "Oh, we only lost because of penalties and this and that." But man, I did not watch that game thinking the game was called bad. I thought Wilkins definitely got that was a cheap, and that was a critical play down there in the end zone, man. We would have made them punt from way back there. It's just, that was a BS call. And like I say,
but you're quite right.
I'm like, asking for it already. So it's just.
You're quite right, Steve. You're quite right, man. It had to be a makeup call, though. They had to do something to even that out. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
it's also funny how many Cowboy fans are crying over, oh, they didn't call this, and this game was so one-sided in the penalties. Even though they were called for 6 penalties, we were called for 5. But the Eagles game, we were called for 10. They were called for 0. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. So that's it, man. And just like. Even the whole, like I said, a couple of weeks ago when Patrick Mahomes cried, it's like sometimes, guys, you just got to take it. I know why Patrick Mahomes cried, because the past couple of years they've had the benefit of the calls favor them. So,
and Josh Allen does the exact same thing. Josh Allen cries all the time.
Yeah, he does. I got another bone to pick about that doggone Dallas game. Everybody talks about the touchdown the Cowboys didn't get. What about the ones we didn't get? I mean, there's so many plays in that game that we missed points on. Not to dismiss that when we went on it 4th down there. So I mean that's the narrative. Oh, the Cowboys should have beat the Dolphins because they missed that one touchdown, and that is such
when they fumbled the ball at the start of the game.
Our first play, we missed a touchdown. Tyreek Hill dropped a touchdown. Would have been touchdown. Maybe it wouldn't have been, but it was. I think it would have been.
Yeah, Tua missed that one just a wee bit on the throw. On that one, he needed on the other shoulder. But hey.
I think he threw it away from the defender. That's why he placed the ball there, because he threw it away from the defender. So it's hard to get Tua on that throw, but
if we're going to do the fifth game, right?
Actually, he missed Tyreek twice for touchdowns, man. He missed him across the middle, you know what I mean? But he did have severe pressure in his face. Then I get him missing that one behind Tyreek, but that was another touchdown right there if that's out in front of Tyreek. If you ask me,
for sure. And you're right, Scotty.
So all that Dallas,
he just made it a tougher catch. Is all I'm saying. But Hill could have caught it.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where Tua was off, but no quarterback is perfect. But Tua, when it mattered the most, clutch.
Oh no, Tua had his big drive, man. He cemented himself on that drive. He knew exactly what he had to do. He led that team. I've seen that drive 1,000 times.
And even Tua audibling to get a first down, like he's a smart dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that little play to Tyreek Hill that picked up that first down, critical, man. It was like, and he, they read the defense. I mean, Tyreek's like man, 2-man. So in other words, they knew how to get him. And I love the motion they used on that. He's running one way, then all of a sudden he stops, motions back the other way, and that Dallas guy is like, uh-oh.
The Dallas guy slipped. He was like, no. Ah.
I know it was a good block by Cotton, got out there and did a critical block. So it was good setup. And guys, with that, man, make sure you guys hit those thumbs up for me. It helps, and it's free, and it's like a fins up when you hit those thumbs up. To you Buffalo guys, don't worry, it's not really a fins up, it's just a thumbs up. So just make sure you hit them anyway. Thank you all you guys on the panel and all the guys in chat. You guys rock. Dolphins rock. And I have the Dolphins winning. We all here seem to think the Dolphins winning outside of our Buffalo contingent. We all pretty much agree that the Dolphins are going to win. So a big fins up to all you guys. Enjoy your weekend. And, of course, a weekend be that much better if our Miami Dolphins win. So thank you guys. Fins up. You guys rock. Thank you, Mr. Dunlop and Dolphin Don and all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. All right.
Yep. Fins up.
Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thursday.